I have no friends. Let's talk about it.
You know it still hurts a little bit, but not that much. Cause if you want somebody else, who am I to
Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a chit chat story time video. I don't really know what to call this video. I just know I had one video planned today that I can't do today for different reasons. But I have time to film something and I don't have my kids hovering over me because David's watching them. So I was like, I need to at least film something. So today we're gonna talk about a subject that I've been wanting to film for a while now, but I'm like, should I do it? I've been waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time to film these kind of videos. This is a subject that is one of my biggest struggles in my life, still to this day, at 28 years old. Even though these things happened in my childhood, they have affected me today. Today we're gonna talk about relationships. I can't even talk to David about this part of my life without crying, so I might cry. Just saying. It's not the first time you guys have seen me cry. It won't be the last time you see me cry. But let's be real, let's be vulnerable, let's be honest. This is gonna be one of those videos, so go get yourself a snack or a drink, sit down, relax, prop your feet up, let's chat. Where do I even begin? I know that all of you watching this can think of an instance in your childhood where your life was changed, whether it was the way that you viewed life or just the way that you were treated. We all have at least one. And for me, most of my insecurities that I have as an adult reside in me from something that happened in my childhood when it comes to friendships and relationships. I try not to be a victim here because I have realized throughout my life that the more that I focus on being a victim and being like, oh, this is how I was treated, the more that I start to believe that. And I know that I'm an overcomer, and I know that those things from my past don't define me. But I'm sharing these things with you guys today because this is my real life. These are my mental day-to-day thoughts and struggles. And you know, some people may not feel comfortable talking about that, but you guys know I've never really fit the norm. It's a part of me that some of you guys don't know. And I think it's just important to show not just the good stuff that goes on, but the hard stuff too, because we all have those hard things. So going back to what I was saying before I started rambling about the victim mentality, I feel like I've always been the friend that was left out of everything. For those of you that are watching this video and you knew me in high school, I became popular in high school. I still don't know how I was popular in high school, to be totally honest. I think it's because I was dating a really extroverted guy that was the icebreaker. Everywhere I went, he was like, this is my girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And then I kind of got to meet people more and more that way. And I think I just really came out of my shell in high school. Before that time of my life, it was definitely a struggle trying to fit in with my peers and trying to have friends. I remember the first time that I was left out of something in my childhood, and I swear to you guys, this may be crazy to some of you, but this is the instance that affects me to this day with relationships. This one thing. I was 6 years old. My best friend and I were playing outside, and all of the neighborhood kids were over. We were like just this big group of kids that always hung out together every day. And she had like some Otter Pops or some kind of popsicle or something, and she was handing them out to everybody. And I honestly, I don't even remember this happening. I just remember being upset that this happened. But I went over to get my popsicle and she told me that I couldn't have any. Actually, she didn't even say you can't have any. She ignored me and turned her back on me while her and the rest of the neighborhood kids ate their popsicles. Something about that day messed me up. It's weird. It's crazy to me that when you're 6 years old, something can leave such an indent on your heart like that, where you feel like you can't even move forward. And it's the weirdest thing. And I didn't even realize that I felt this way until I got brought up in therapy. And I remember the specific instance. But you know, there's always those things that we think about that we never really like put two and two together and realize this is why I'm feeling that way. That was the first moment that I remember feeling rejection as a child. Another time that I can think of, and I feel like I talked about this in a video once, but maybe I didn't. It was in middle school. Middle school, it was just a terrible time. I hate middle school. It's terrible. If you're in middle school right now, just know it gets better. And I was sitting down and I didn't realize my shirt was up. And so I had my stomach hanging out, and it's it makes me roll my eyes, because back then I didn't even have a stomach. I thought I did. I mean, I've always been curvier and a little more overweight than the rest of my peers, but I wasn't fat by any means. Anyway, my shirt was up and I heard like giggling and laughing, and everyone was kind of pointing at me, and it was just like one of those things like from a movie when you're the center of attention and everyone's laughing at you, and just that like feeling of pure and utter humiliation. I didn't realize my shirt was up for a really long time, and then somebody told me that my fat was hanging out, and I happened to look down and I saw that my shirt had gone up, and that jump started every insecurity about my weight. The third time that I can recall where I felt rejected and betrayed, and that has haunted me to this day, is at the end of middle school, maybe the beginning of high school, somewhere, maybe 8th grade. I called my friend on the phone and her mom answered, and I said, "Hi, is Anne there?" We're just gonna use the name Anne because it's just a generic name. And her mom goes, yeah, she's here. And I could hear in the background, you know, she's like, "Anne, Shaylee's calling, Shaylee's on the phone." And I heard Anne say on the phone to her mom, I wasn't supposed to hear, "Oh, I don't even like Shaylee. I don't even like her. She's not even my friend." This was somebody that I had considered in my life to be a close friend. So when I heard that, it was just like, whew, piercing to the heart. It's really sad when I recall all these stories, because I just know that this is gonna happen to my daughter too. It's just inevitable. Like, it happens to all of us as kids, and it's just the things that we go through. But it's like, I just want to box my kids up and never have them go into the real world where pain is everywhere and hurt is everywhere and friendships are full of rejection, and it just sucks. Anyway, why am I telling you guys all these stories? Well, because I know that some of you guys can relate to these stories. I know some of you have had something similar happen to you, and I'm just telling you, I'm 28 years old. These instances happened when I was, 12, 13, whatever, and then the first one when I was 6, and I still think about them to this day. And every single thing that I do today, I still have those moments in the back of my head nagging at me. I make a new friend, and it's like, they're just trying to be friends with you, but they don't actually like you. Or, yeah, they like you, but they're talking badly about you behind your back. There's been so much that God has taught me these last few years when it comes to friendships. I've had to completely remove certain people from my life because it was just this thing where it was a very one-sided friendship. I do admit I pour a lot into my friendships. I feel like since becoming a mom, that's toned down a lot, just because I don't have all the time and energy in the world to dedicate to friendships. But there are definitely people in my life that I consider close friends, and that I pour into, and that I give, and that I love, and I'm just, I just want to give them all of myself. And if I don't feel that in return, it's just an instant like, they don't like you. They never did. They've been pretending. It's a lie from the enemy. It honestly is. But when you are feeling those things in the moment, it's like suffocating. It's like somebody has their hand around your neck and you're just like, I'm never gonna make good friends. I'm never gonna make friends that I can rely on or count on or that I love, I do have a lot of amazing people in my life. And every time that I do sit down videos like this, little chats, I always get texts from my friends like, "Hey, I saw your update. I hope you're okay," and everything like that. It's like I have a ton of support. So I don't want to paint this picture of, oh, poor me, I have nobody in my life. But I do want to say that those situations have made me so much more cautious and so much more emotional and just overwhelmed in general. There was a church that we were on staff at, and I know you guys are like, which one? There's been a million. We've definitely had our fair share of trying experiences being in ministry. And we were at this church, and I had actually just gotten pregnant, and they just told us it's not gonna work. The end. Like, come and get your stuff out of the office, and we'll see you guys later. I don't know. It just wasn't a fit for us. So I remember leaving that church, and I'm emotional because I'm pregnant, and I have all these like things going on in my life, and now all of a sudden my husband's unemployed, right? I just felt so defeated. And I remember just wanting so badly for someone to reach out to me. I just wanted like a text or a phone call saying like, I love you, I'm praying for you, something. I don't remember a single woman reaching out to me during that time. So I carried that with me for so many years, and that kind of in my head defined, it just took over my spirit. I don't know how to describe it. I let that certain situation really, really hurt me. And instead of like trying to work it out within myself and with God, I just dwelled on it. So the next church that we went to, I carried on to that sadness and that bitterness, and I just assumed that every woman that I would meet from that point on would have zero interest in my life. I firmly believe that the biggest thing that we need as human beings is friendship. Above all else, having genuine, authentic community is the most important. I just see over and over and over again that the one thing that we are lacking in our lives is community and friends. And it's just so hard to find that. And I've been praying to find that for years and years and years and years and years. And it's just felt so lonely and so overwhelming. So if you're at that place, just know that I've been there. Fast forward to now. We just started a position in a new church, and I really feel like we found community there, which is something that usually takes a really long time to find, but it's happened pretty quickly at this church. And I'm so grateful for it, because I feel like David and I really needed a community of friends. You actually find those people that you can talk to about your flaws, your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, and they love you and accept you the same. That is true gold. I'm still working through these insecurities. That's why I'm sharing this part of my life with you guys, because I want you to realize, like, I do not have my life together. I've made friends at church that have hurt me. I've made friends through YouTube that have hurt me. I've made friends at school that have hurt me. I've made friends in my everyday life that have hurt me. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. And so friendships can get really messy and really complicated very quickly. I can't sit here and wonder why somebody is not texting me back, or sit here and wonder why somebody's treating me differently all of a sudden. I just need to come out straight with it and be like, are you interested in being friends with me? Which is a really uncomfortable conversation when you don't like conflict. Trust me, because I'm that person. But I think knowing people's intentions with where they want to go in the relationship is important, because you can't just invest all of yourself into somebody if they're not wanting to invest back into you. That's not a friendship. I'm not saying that in every friendship they have to constantly give, because I think there's seasons of life where you're giving more to your friend, and then there's seasons of life where they're giving more to you. It's not always, you know, an equal amount, but there needs to be at least some kind of variation there. It can't just be me calling the person all the time, hey, can you hang out, and then having them rejected, or texting them and never getting a reply. Time is really valuable, and I'm valuable, and I want to love and invest into others. Even if they don't want to invest back into me, I still love them the same. I just know not to put all my time and energy there. I don't think every friend is supposed to be in your life for every part of your life. Friends come and go. Sometimes you need friends for certain seasons, and then God closes the door. One thing that I struggle with is when friendships end, and it's just hard for me. It's so painful. It feels like a breakup almost. But I think that it's healthy sometimes to remove certain friends from our life, or to move on from a certain friendship in our life. There's nothing wrong with it. Maybe you'll reunite in a few years. This year I'm going to my high school reunion. It's been 10 years. I don't even feel that old. It's crazy. But there have been so many friends that I was friends with 10 years ago that I'm not really friends with now. Actually, my best friend, one of my best friends from high school, we haven't seen each other in like 3 years. So I'm excited to see her and catch up and everything like that. But just because we haven't seen each other in that amount of time doesn't mean that we don't care about each other and that we don't love each other. We just went through seasons of life where we were apart. Sometimes I just catch myself looking way too deep into it, like, Why aren't they talking to me anymore? Did they see one of my videos and think it was stupid? Or have I just not been a good friend because I'm a mom? I start going through all these like questions and series of like grilling myself in my head. The most important thing for me in this process of like healing from my past is realizing that I'm not the same person I was. And that I will never be the same person I was a year ago, 2 years ago. I'll never be that 6-year-old again who didn't get that popsicle shared. That's my past, you know, and I can't let that define my present and my future. This is honestly the most challenging thing I've ever gone through in my life. A lot of my mental health issues stem from social anxiety and social situations. It's like, I feel like it follows me around everywhere that I go. And that's why it's so important for me to keep declaring who I am in Christ, and to declare I am a good friend and I do love people well, and I have a lot to offer friendships. Because if those are the things that I'm thinking about and filling myself with, then of course I'm going to want to give to others. But if I'm sitting here dwelling in my pain and my hurts from my previous friendships, then how am I going to be able to give to anybody? If we allow bitterness and anger to overcome us, then it's really, really hard to show love and compassion and mercy and grace, which are all things that have been given to us, by the way. I still struggle every single day with friendships. I'll be texting a friend of mine, like a really close friend, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, am I annoying them? Oh my gosh, just to stop talking now. Like if I send my friend like 5 texts in a row and I never get a response, I'm like, they hate me. And I understand that a lot of it is correlated to my past, but I can't let it define my future. I don't wanna become one of those like passive aggressive friends who's always hurt. It does no good. And I just feel like it's such a waste of life. Life is so short. Isn't it crazy that the older you get, the harder it is to make friends? Oh my gosh, I feel like with each passing year, it's just harder and harder. But you know, when you find those friends that pour into you and that love you unconditionally, it's pure gold. And that's the kind of friend that I want to be. When I was telling you guys about that story about none of those women reaching out to me when they let us go at our church, I want to be different than that. I want to be the person that reaches out to that young woman who gets let go at my next church. You know, I want to be that person who wasn't there for me. There's such a great need for friendships and for love and for acceptance. We have such an opportunity, you guys, such an opportunity to make a difference and to love on others and to just be the friend that we've never had, or to be the friend that we've always wanted. Yes, there are insecurities with life, but we're overcomers and we can overcome absolutely anything. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this chit chat video. Leave your experiences down in the comments. You can tell us your insecurities if you feel like it. You don't have to, but I always love reading your guys' comments. Like, you guys are the best commenters ever. I read every single one, and if I don't reply to it, just know that I appreciate you guys always sharing your heart with me and always just being amazing. You guys are just so amazing. I love each and every one of you. You have so much to offer this world. Don't forget that. We'll see you in our next video. Bye.